This is the portion of the show where we pretend that we have no idea that a hot mic is on. And we just chatter. And the real ones know. Like the Rumble chat people.
Right.
They know.
They're
they
in
know
on
for
it.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually,
what's cool is they get this and the podcast never gets this.
Right. So. Being on camera is going to be weird for me. Feel like Ricky Bobby. Don't know what to do with my hands.
I just put them in my lap.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Vince. This episode of Vince is brought to you by Blackout Coffee. It absolutely is. It actually should be in my teleprompter, but it's not because we've got a great operation here. Blackout Coffee, the official coffee of all of us here at Silverloch. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Vince. Use the code Vince. That's VINCE for 20% off your first order. Blackout Coffee. Speaking of blackout, I think that's why it wasn't in my teleprompter. Justin had a long night last night. We were celebrating Justin. He graduated from college, and now we've got him full-time, so we can torture him relentlessly. Great to have Justin here. Great to have you here with us, as always. We have a very special edition of this program today. It is, for those of you playing along at home, Frank Fugazi Day here at Silverloch, and we can't wait to discuss it. All ahead on this show. Vince. Oh, that's right. I got a new spot. I'm blackout now. Hey, do you think about aging as much as I do? I've noticed as I've been getting older, my energy has definitely gone down a bit. Things are a little more painful. You know, getting up out of bed in the morning. Whoa, what is that? I've been trying to figure out ways to get my energy back. And I'm so excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15. It's the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Venn Watson discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the United States Navy. And based on studies, we know that when our cells don't have enough C15, they actually can age faster. Don't believe me? Look it up. I did the research myself, and I love this. It's great for me. Fatty 15 can help repair and protect age-related damage to cells and help activate pathways in the body that repair mechanisms that support our overall wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, vegan, 100% pure C15 supplement. And refills, they're shipped right to your door. I take it every single morning. First thing in the morning. The sun's not even up yet. I'm taking my glass of water and my Fatty 15. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Vince and using that code Vince at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Intro. All right, here we are. It is Frank Fugazi Day, which means it's that time of year again where we show you a video of Frank Fugazi. Before we do that, I should point out that we've got the whole Silverloch crew here. Everybody's in the building. We're all hanging out together. The great producer, Jim, from the nationwide The Vince Show radio show, is here with us today, and he's got his great brisket shirt on. Make brisket $197 a pound again.
Yes, please do that.
What is brisket right now?
It's like $4 a pound at least, and that's just for select. When you get to prime and everything, you're talking $7-8 a pound. It's
and
ridiculous.
what do you go for? Do you go for prime?
I like to cook prime.
Special occasions.
But you know what? You can do select and make it taste good if you know what you're doing.
I believe. Well, he knows what he's doing. He's very good. We were just talking about getting a smoker here at the studio,
yes.
So every time Jim visits, he can cook for everybody.
That's what I want to do.
And then the fabulous Hayley Caronia is in the house today from the Nightly Scroll. Hayley has been scrolling for your viewing and listening pleasure for some time now, since the beginning of March?
Yep, beginning of March. And I scroll for, I don't even know, 14, 15 hours a day just to get the best content that no one's seen yet.
And did you start scrolling once you got the job, or were you
I've been
scrolling long before that?
Oh, I've been scrolling, yeah. I did a weekly show with Fox News Digital called Screen Time because my screen time was so high. That's where it all started. Yeah. But then when I came here, had to, change up the segment name. So now it's scrolling time. But it all stemmed from how high my screen time has been.
Well, I'm glad you've been able to turn that into something useful. Most of us can't figure out a way to do that. Yeah. Well, it's great to be able to do this today. This is the conclusion of my week in Florida, and it's just been an absolute blast to be here. And it's nice to get all of us together. Oh, and look who else is in studio. And he loves brisket too. That's major.
Yes, I bet he does.
He adores. The meat doesn't have to be smoked. Any meat will be fine for Major. Major has traveled all the way to Florida to be here with us. So great to have Major in studio. So speaking of things that we do and we celebrate, there's a tradition here at Silverloch, well established through the years by the great Dan Bongino, of celebrating an event that only happens once a year, and that is August 8th. And for those of you, again, playing along at home, it's the 8th month of the year, and you get those two numbers together, 8-8, and there's a guy called Frank Fugazi. He goes absolutely wild for this date in history. Take a look. Frank Fugazi in his historic assessment of those two numbers.
We have to understand the adversary and the threat we're dealing with. And if we don't understand how they think, we'll never understand how to counter them. So it's the little things and language and messaging that matters. The president said that we will fly our flags at half-mast until August 8th. That's 8-8. Now, I'm not going to imply that he did this deliberately, but I am using it as an example of the ignorance of the adversary that's being demonstrated by the White House. The numbers 8-8 are very significant in neo-Nazi and white supremacy movement. Why? Because the letter H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and to them, the numbers 8-8 together stand for Heil Hitler. So we're going to be raising the flag back up at dusk on 8-8. No one's thinking about this.
No one.
No one
is thinking about this.
Absolutely nobody except Frank.
Do you know that, like, he had to sit there before the segment started and think to himself, "Oh, that's perfect." Like it wasn't just like spur of the moment. He wasn't freestyling. That was well considered. He did that in the mirror before he appeared on MSNBC. Haley, have you ever seen that clip before, Haley?
I have seen that clip before.
Isn't it incredible?
Yeah. I mean, 8-8. Here we are.
We are here on this
and
this
no
date
one was
in history.
ever thinking about it before that moment.
I never thought about it until he put it in my head. He's like, well, nobody's thinking about this. Yeah, nobody is thinking about this.
I like how he said, I'm not implying that, and then meanwhile goes on to imply that
very heavily
that he's saluting white supremacy and Hitler.
Do you think that this dogs him? Do you think that he lives with this? Like he thinks about this from time to time?
Now, I mean, especially as much as we've elevated it into the popular culture, I definitely think he's absolutely living with it. But yet MSNBC still rolls him out there to say stupid things.
It is really great, isn't it? Yeah, we need clowns in our culture.
Yes,
so
we do.
We've got Frank Fugazi.
When was that?
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was like in the first administration of the first Trump administration. So it's been a while ago.
And their TDS and Hitler stuff and white supremacy stuff has just gotten worse.
It's never abated.
Obsession, so yeah.
It's never abated, and it's still going to this very day. But I just love that clip so much because it is so representative of the media's insanity. I mean, it is Trump derangement syndrome distilled into its purest form.
Absolutely. And to think, when he said no one else is talking about it, that's one thing he was right about, because literally there were no other media suggesting any of this. It was just Frankie Fugazi, which Fugazi, by the way, his real name, in case nobody knows, it's Frank Figluzzi, and he used to work at the FBI. I'm not sure if he held the spot that Dan holds now, or he was somewhere in that sphere.
Assistant FBI director, I think.
Yeah, assistant FBI director. So he was really high up there and had a position of responsibility. And this lunatic comes up with things like this. That's crazy.
Yes, and he was very high on national television too, apparently, when he made that assessment.
Yes.
That's great. How much joy did Dan derive out of mocking him for this?
Oh, we've done it several times. I mean, he derived so much joy out of it that we had a giant Fugazi head made.
I'm aware.
The fellas put that together, and then I think
Anita McGroin has that right now.
She has that right now. She's got it for safekeeping.
Yes, and it's on her. I saw it. She posted it to social media. Folks, can you pull up Anita McGroin's post by any chance? Anita McGroin has posted it to X. They're protecting the gigantic Frank Fugazi head, and which is really nice of her, because previously it sat on this shelf. It sat actually so high on this shelf that you couldn't see it when they launched this studio. But luckily, Anita's been making it public.
Oh, and in case nobody knows why we call him Fugazi, because if you saw the movie Donnie Brasco, you would know that they talked about what a Fugazi is, and in Italian or in the Italian culture overall, it means it's a phony.
It's a
Basically,
fake.
That's what it is.
It's a nonsense.
It's fake.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and that's Frank. So what he was saying on television was a fugazi. Hilarious. Anyway, so it's 8-8. Congratulations to everybody who celebrates. Appreciate
Just
you
Frank.
being here with us. Okay, I need to get to something here with you in particular, Hayley.
Okay.
Because I saw your show earlier this week, and you said, I'm not talking about Sydney Sweeney anymore. I'm done. This whole Sydney Sweeney thing, I'm sick and tired of it. I got to move on. And I'm here to tell you, we're going to talk about it. Okay. We've got to bring up Sydney Sweeney, and here's why. The New York Times today is trying to convince everybody, they're trying to gaslight you into believing that this whole Sydney Sweeney drama was an invention of the right. That the left never once was angry that Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
Well, that's not true.
It's not true? You sure about that? The New York Times is telling you you're making this up.
Well, we know that we can't trust the New York Times. But no, the left, I saw all these videos on TikTok all week long about how they were pushing, American Eagle was pushing eugenics, and that was what fueled the left's hatred of Sydney Sweeney. Also, the fact that she was sexualizing herself, they didn't like that aspect of the ad. So yes, the left was angry, and then we rushed to defend her. That's what happened.
The Good Morning America, remember, early in this, they featured a supposed expert by the name of Robin Lunda, and she said that the idea, this is the quote, the idea that she has, quote, good genes has ties to the American eugenics movement. This was on Good Morning America. American eugenics movement, and she said it weaponized the idea of good genes to justify white supremacy. So I'm pretty sure that actually happened.
She does have good genes. And yes, she happens to be white. White people aren't the only people who have good genes and are beautiful. Beyonce did a very similar ad about having good genes. She's gorgeous. That doesn't mean that other people aren't also gorgeous, but this was her moment. She is the Hollywood it girl. Of course they chose her. Everyone's talking about her. She's in every movie, every show. She's very popular. Who else would you want to sell your genes?
Is it because she's hot and popular that they're so resentful? Is that what animates all of this?
I think so. Yeah.
That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like if she was just frumpy looking and just did this, if she was...
well, they would love her if she was frumpy looking.
If it
the
was
left would love her.
If it was Lena Dunham, and I have great genes, we'd be like, who cares? Nobody cares. It wouldn't even be a thing.
I think it goes even further than that. So if you look at American Eagle ads from earlier, like just a few years earlier, and they're featuring like Lizzo in these jeans before her massive weight loss and everything. They're looking for something to grasp onto. They don't want America to be hot again. They want to do the whole body positivity thing. I think that's a big part of it. So one of the ways that they wanted to make that work, it's like, okay, what have we done to Trump and everybody else on the right? We made him Nazis, so we're going to make her a Nazi.
So let me if we want to get philosophical for a moment, let's really dive into this. Beauty is an expression of truth. Like there's a reason that when you're attracted to something, when you see something that attracts you, it speaks to you on some sort of deeper level that oftentimes like we make it really shallow, but beauty actually appeals to you in a way that touches your soul. And so it's not just like attractive people, which of course that does happen, but attractive buildings, attractive art, like anything that sort of speaks to some higher power, like there's a truth to it that we universally share. And the left hates those things because it does remind people that there's something bigger out there. It does. And I realize, like, I know it probably feels kind of like silly to try and tack that onto the Sydney Sweeney story, but I do think that at its core, this is what it's about. Why are they trying to destroy all the most beautiful buildings that we have? Why are they tearing down all of our statues?
Nothing's beautiful anymore.
Hayley and I talked about this last Friday on the radio about the new ballroom that Trump wants to add on to the White House.
Yes.
And how classical he wants it to look and how he's thinking about the beauty and putting all this wonderful architecture.
Yes.
Even what he did in the Oval Office, making the Oval look nicer. And we talked about, like, when you go to Rome, for example, and you're staying at your hotel and not a quarter mile up the street is a church that Michelangelo designed and built.
Exactly.
And you're looking at this magnificent thing that was built 1,000 years ago and wondering, why can't we do this today? And I also told her a story about, this was in D.C. I mean, this is your hometown, and you can speak to this as well. I was at walking back to my hotel, and I came upon the Dwight D. Eisenhower Monument, which is like a block long, and it's just marvelous. These beautiful bronze statues. There's marble all behind him with quotes from Dwight D. Eisenhower. And then right behind this beautiful monument is the Department of Education building.
Yep.
Which is sterile and gray and gross and something just that will take the life out of you. It
saps you of your energy.
Yes. And that goes to the exact point that you were just making about we need to bring beauty back.
Well, why do you think the FBI has spent so much time attacking Americans? Because they hate themselves for working in that ugly building. The Hoover building it's soul sucking.
I was in there, and that's exactly what I thought when I'm like, how does anybody even come to work here? Because it was gray and brown.
You're not inspired.
No.
And then when they should point out to you, see the chains at the top? That's to keep the stones from falling off the wall and hitting you on the head and killing you.
It's so crazy.
Nothing's really intentional anymore. Like when you build something, it's how do we do this fast? How do we do this easily? How do we do this cheap? And that's really what it's all about. Hi, Major.
So look, Major's in the studio. Major's a perfect example of this, and I'll tell you why.
He's beautiful.
He's beautiful. but one thing I heard Tucker say once, he said, "Your dog's face is beautiful. Your dog's face is beautiful," and I agree with that entirely. It's a thing that speaks to your soul in a totally different way. And actually, again, if we're going to just put the finest point on this. The most beautiful things that exist are the things that God created.
Yes.
It's not the stuff that man has assembled. Everything, including what Michelangelo did, is a pale imitation of natural beauty of the things, and that includes humanity. So anyway, that's where we are. So we've reached a very deep point using Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad with American Eagle.
Even those things were inspired by God. When you think about it,
yes,
they were inspired by God.
No question.
And there's nothing being built now that has that same inspiration.
Yeah, but the left wants to tear all that down.
Yes.
Did you guys see the clips of the socialism conference that took place this year?
No.
Yes.
So there's the socialism conference.
Enlighten me.
So they held a socialism conference in July, right? And I like that the concept is always like, oh, no, socialists aren't that crazy. And then you play the actual game tape. And in the game tape, they're like, we need to destroy the family. They say out loud.
Literally.
I'm not going to win until we're doing abortions inside of churches.
That was what they said. And Hayley, they're all on a panel. They're in masks.
Of course.
They're still wearing the masks
of course.
because they have to have the uniform.
They're wearing the masks. And in case you're wondering, you're like, is this dated footage? On stage, it says Socialism 2025. It's right there in the front. It's like they may as well have held up a newspaper and be like, no, it's right now. Right. They're wearing the uniform. The mask is a uniform.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Where does this conference take place?
This was New York.
Okay. That makes sense.
It was the New
That
York
tracks.
City. Yeah, and they were defending Mom Donnie and how Mom Donnie actually came to these lunatics and made the pitch that he should be the candidate for mayor of New York.
Of course. Because he wants, city-run grocery stores because everything is going to be run like the DMV. And as someone who used to live in New York City and has been to the DMV, even if you make an appointment, you're there for 8 hours, just so everyone knows.
So let me ask you just about the social media impact of Ma'am Donnie. People are basically saying that he's going to TikTok his way into the mayor's office. And because a lot of what people know about him in New York appears to just be social media videos. Mm-hmm. He's like, here I am, sitting in this restaurant. I'm so great. I like connecting with the people. And then you spend 5 seconds assessing what he actually believes in and what he's said in the past. It is some of the most demented, demonic, destructive possible ideology. How big is the social media component to this?
Well, I actually don't think that it's candidate specific. I think that a lot of young people just get their news in general from social media. So they're not looking for it anywhere else. They're not reading articles. They're not doing their own research.
Yeah.
So if a candidate is good at social media and they're good at crafting this persona and they sell whatever they want to sell and they can package it in a way that gets to people, young people will just see that and they won't go any further to do any research into his policies,
right.
Or they'll just hear the sound bites, they'll hear the highlights, and that'll be enough for them. Interestingly enough, though, it wasn't enough for Kamala Harris. So that's why I think it's not candidate specific. I think, the social media thing, it's like you have to be good at the social media. It doesn't matter, it's like if you're good at it, it'll work. If you're bad at it, it won't work.
Yes. She's also not as talented of a con artist.
Right.
So she's so transparently inauthentic.
She also had no policies. Mamdani does have policies. They're just scary. But the whole point is people on social media see the package deal that the candidate puts out and then they buy that, but they're not doing their own research. So Kamala Harris had nothing to research and she was just a bad candidate.
Yes.
Didn't do well on social media, and Mamdani is. So
Jim, being a native New Yorker, does this scare you that Mamdani could be the mayor?
I lived in New York in the 1970s, so it was like really bad then.
Yeah.
I can remember, for example, one time I'm going through. I've got stories I can tell you.
That's what I want you to do.
Track meet in the South Bronx, and it looked like Beirut, Lebanon, after it had been bombed out. You know, it was like that bad. It was that scary to go through there. There was one time we used to go to cross country meets in Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx, the North Bronx, which is the nice part, and there would be this train. You wait on the subway, and it'd be full car, full car, full car, empty car, full car, full car. So immediately everybody runs to the empty car. There was a homeless guy in this car that stunk of urine so bad. Oh. There's a reason the car was empty. This is the New York that I grew up in.
Yeah.
If Mamdani gets elected, this is the New York that's coming back.
So like, let me just point an obvious policy thing that's really stupid. I mean, among the many. State-owned grocery stores. So his thing is like, you're being price gouged by all the grocery stores. Now, first of all, he's beginning with a lie because, as we know from like the Biden era lies on this subject, the margins for grocery stores are non-existent.
It's like 2%.
It's like 2%. Mm-hmm. I mean, just think about how much food they have to throw out that doesn't get sold. That costs a lot of money. Grocery stores are not making immense sums of money here. 2%. Okay. So if you make it state-owned, and make the prices even cheaper, you're going to price out all of the mom and pops, all of the grocery stores that are sustaining small businesses and these families that are running them.
Right.
And then the shelves are going to be bare. You're not going to have food on your shelves to sell. So the outcome you're talking about, Jim, kind of the Soviet outcome, the breadline outcome, is what Mamdani's promising New York. It's like,
right, because who's going to want to put their products in those stores if they're not going to be able to make any money off it? It's not only the grocery store itself, but it's the people who make the products that are going to be sold in the store. And if you're not selling it at a price that it can be profitable, it's like, well, I'm not going to put it in the state-run store. I'm going to go to whatever other grocery store I can. And then what happens too is you're going to have private grocery stores where the costs are going to be way inflated. So it comes to that whole income inequality thing again. This government always causes income inequality. Free markets don't. Free markets rise all boats. And government interference always, every single time, makes things less efficient and cost more.
Okay. I want to talk to you about, hey, fellas, I want to tell people about our sponsor. I think my teleprompter broke somewhere in there, but so at some point I'll be able to do that. But let me ask you about another crazy Democrat. How about let's move from Mamdani to Jasmine Crockett. This is Jim. You've lived in all these places. So
Yes,
we went from New York. Now you live in Texas.
She unfortunately is too close to my district. Yes.
Is she pretty close by, Texas Congresswoman?
She's in Dallas. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Jasmine Crockett is one of the elected representatives, unfortunately, from your state. We've got a new piece on her. Hayley, prepare yourself. This is going to shock you.
Okay.
Jasmine Crockett is a boss from hell.
Okay.
Her staff hates her.
Interesting.
This is interesting. So Stephen Nelson at the New York Post has this great piece today. Representative Jasmine Crockett has positioned herself as an unfiltered critic of the president, of course. But congressional aides tell the Post that the Dallas Democrat is just as rude and mean to her own staff. You tell me if this tracks. When she's not on TV, which is all the time, she's terrorizing her staff. Crockett is not often found at her government-provided suite in the Longworth House office building. One insider says she prefers to work from her nearby luxury apartment building. You know what that means? She's not working.
Right.
She's just laying up. She's, quote, she's laying around her apartment, won't come into the office, and is really just indifferent to staff and will scream at them, the former aide said. She's never in the office. She's very disengaged. She does her bullshit that goes viral and then freaks out over the most random things. Of course, she needs to be... They need to ferry her to and from the short distance from the Capitol. They have a chauffeured car to take her back and forth. and when she's, just laying about all day, she's got to show up to appear on television and then say that Trump is racist, and then she'll throw a stapler at her staff, and then she'll head back to her apartment. Hayley, have you ever experienced a work environment like this?
I haven't, not personally, but interestingly enough, I saw online a video, and this woman said, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I've never had a good female boss. I would take a male boss 10 times out of 10. And the comments were in agreement, 100% in agreement. No one could say, yes, I had an effective female boss who was looking out for me, not in competition with me. So a lot of these millennial women that you would think have this feminist mindset, they're realizing they come into the workforce now, maybe Gen Z coming into the workforce now, and they're realizing women aren't effective leaders. They're good at other things. Maybe they're organized, maybe they're good at time management, but I don't think the corporate world is meant for them, and they're not good at being bosses.
I'm sorry, these were Jim's lines. You were supposed to deliver those. Hayley, you're reading the wrong script.
If I would have said that, forget about it.
Oh, this is why I'm the token female on the panel. I can say
no, it's great. It's great. So, but do you feel that way? Do you agree with that?
I have had good and bad.
Yeah.
But I do think that I would rather have a male boss because I think they're good leaders. And I do think that when you have females in the workplace, there is a competitive nature where women aren't really looking out for women. They say all the time, women supporting women, not the truth. There
are fundamental differences, of course, between men and women in the way they act in a workforce. I mean, one of the great things about women is that they're pretty dependable, actually. Women are dependable and will do the routine very well and very efficiently. Whereas men, they can be creative and they can be very good leaders, but they can also be time wasters. They will just like burn clock. And so there's no question that it's actually interesting. It's like there's something that's both sides really bring to the workforce, for sure.
Well, the thing is, people don't want to talk about it, but there are distinct differences between men and women in the way their brains are wired to do different things. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth.
Say it,
Men
Jim.
think
Just say
logically, women think more emotionally, and that's a fact. And I think it goes to your point, Hayley, that's why women bosses have a more difficult time with their employees, because their emotional side of their brain, and I know I'm going to get it.
No, go ahead.
No.
Say it. I've got a
You're not going to offend me.
The emotional side of their brain is in a battle with the logical do right side, and it kind of gets in the way of them being able to act correctly as a boss.
The effect of that broadly is that probably all of us, we have a kind of a built-in prejudice to think, well, she's probably assessing this emotionally and not logically. So she's running uphill against her own biology and our general thought process about it. So yeah, I think you're onto something.
And then you're only saying that because I'm a woman. It's like, no, maybe.
Well, yeah.
It's possible. It's possible. Yeah, it sounds like you have a guilty conscience, lady.
Right.
All right, hey, you already know the name Blackout Coffee, proudly the official coffee of everybody here at Silverloch, and there's a great reason for that. There really is. It's because Blackout is phenomenal. Which camera is on? Am I looking at this one? Okay, good. Just making sure. Hello, camera. This Blackout Coffee is the way I start my day every day. And you know what the great thing about being here in Florida at the Silverloch studio is? They have an espresso machine loaded up with Blackout Coffee beans. This is at a level that I don't even usually get. And it grinds them up, and then it makes this beautiful cup of coffee. A little bit of that, what do they call that, crema? A little crema foam at the top. It's just natural foam from the espresso. And then I sip this thing, and then my entire life changes. I instantly am a better person. It's great. It tastes like freedom. This is not grocery store junk. It is really good. Everybody at Silverloch drinks it. It's awesome. They've got a delivery program where they're going to periodically just deliver this coffee straight to your door, so you can have that experience that makes you feel enlivened all the time. And so you should do that. You can pick your favorite roast, how you want it delivered, where you want it delivered. You get the discount. You get double the rewards, free shipping to your doorstep. You get a cheer from me for purchasing it, and you get a delicious cup of coffee. It's really, really good. Isn't it, Major? Major, it's really good. It's good coffee. Here's what to do. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Vince. Use that code Vince. You're going to get 20% off your first order. Blackoutcoffee.com/Vince. You like bold dark roast, flavored coffee, instant, Blackout's got it all. Real coffee, no compromise. blackoutcoffee.com/Vince. Get yours now. So this is fun. I love hanging out with you guys. All of our various video monitors have completely gone out. And I think I've got video clips and stuff.
That's
Justin's crying right now in the booth.
We're in the dark over here.
It's a disaster in here, but it's great. It's wonderful.
Like
it's a wonderful disaster.
He's like Nero fiddling while Rome burns.
He's like, they'll be fine. They don't need anything.
Right.
Meanwhile, I can't see you, chat. So whatever you want to say about Jim, now's your chance. The things that we're hitting today. Let's talk about somebody we all know. Dan Bongino. You familiar with him?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Who?
I've met him.
Sorry.
Bongino. I don't know where he is right now. According to the people who hate him, he's probably like on Epstein's Island or something right now, flying around in his private jet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all he does. Yeah, he's just abusing taxpayer resources. In fact, he takes off in the private jet. He never lands anywhere. He just keeps circling the country, seeing how much gas he can burn. No, here's the update, actually. In the last 24 hours, we get news that 3 senior FBI officials have just been canned by the Kash, Patel, and Dan Bongino-led FBI. And they include Brian Driscoll, who had briefly served as the acting director at the beginning of President Trump's second term, Walter Jardina, who worked on investigations related to Trump, and his advisor, Peter Navarro, that Jardina was going after both of them. And then Washington Field Office Acting Director Steve Jensen is also being dismissed. Today's his last day in that role. And one thing that, I've kind of seen is like, Jim, I know you've been tracking this, is like, well, they're finally firing some people. That's finally happening. It's not finally happening, is it, Jim?
No, it's not finally happening. It's been happening. You've been updated on X by both Dan and Kash to exactly everything that's been going on. But Vince, this isn't going to matter. Even with Jensen gone, Jensen was the big, target that they wanted. He fought against the J6ers and this and that, and they're promoting him. No, they didn't promote him. Dan actually told you exactly what was going on with Jensen. He said it in an interview on TV. And not only that, now he's gone. It's not going to be enough.
Okay,
It'll never be enough.
Let me show people what you're talking about. It was just a couple months ago. Dan went on television. He said something that was quite obviously like, here, remember this? When the news transpires, you'll understand more. It was one of those moments. And of course, it was like everyone was like, yeah, whatever. And they just like ran on. I'm like, no, it's not whatever. That's just the deputy director of the FBI said, this is an important thing to watch. Again, this guy, Steve Jensen, was made the head of the Washington Field Office. A lot of people pointed out, well, wasn't he involved in persecuting January 6 people? Well, yeah. Take a look at what Dan had to say at the time.
You promoted Stephen Jensen, the architect of the FBI's overzealous January 6th investigation.
I want the American public to realize what we did. That man was in a position where he literally fought back against the machine who was saying, we want to politicize this event. We want to politicize this event. And at the end of the day, remember, Maria, there's a chain of command here. So you can fight back your chain of command to a certain degree before they fire you. And Steve Jensen and other folks were promoted because they embody what the American public demands of FBI agents.
To get to the bottom of something like January 6th and the pipe bomber case, for example, you need 3 things. You need people, you need information, and you need people with information. I'll allow the public to put that together and just wait, and you'll see. Nothing we're doing, nothing is by accident.
People who are quote unquote.
Okay. You see something like that, and you're like, yeah, whatever, you're just promoting Jensen. You idiots. I mean, how can you watch something like that and not think, well, that's interesting?
Right.
I think the key there is exactly what I think I posted this after he said it, after I watched it on the interview. It was, you need people, you need information, and you need people with information. Put that together. It's not that hard.
No, but okay, so like, Hayley, what do you think of that? What do you think of that arrangement? When he says that, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that they're working. And it tells you that what this FBI is doing differently than they've ever done before is I think they're actually listening to federal agents about what they need and what support they need. Yeah. Director Patel has said many times that they're taking these agents out of DC. All these agents are just like stockpiled here in DC waiting to get promoted and make more money. And they want to be out in the field. So they're out in the field. They're doing things differently. It's not people at the top who think that they're the bosses.
Right.
We were just talking about good and bad bosses, right? This is indicative that they are good bosses because they're listening to what the people underneath them need and they're giving them that support.
Also, the way that Dan presented that, when he says, we need people, we need information, we need people with information. What that instantly made me think of is any criminal investigation that relies on one of the perps flipping against the rest of the conspiracy.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, wait a second. We're keeping this guy around for a reason. Not a mistake. Everyone's paying attention to it. That's fine. Not a mistake. We're keeping this guy around. Again, I'm just inferring all of this based on the obvious to me.
Right.
So it's just they're like, okay, yeah, we'll keep him around. So he's leaving now. Now he released a statement yesterday. Jensen did. It was a nice statement. It was great to work with everybody. See you later. I'm on the way out. It wasn't a bitter, whiny, bitchy statement about I can't believe what's happening at the Bureau. To me, you just do the math on all of this and you start to think, well, they used Jensen as much as they could. They wrung him dry and then they got rid of him. So whatever utility they had for this guy has been exhausted. Goodbye. Thanks for your help.
Right.
And in exchange for not raining holy hell down on him, everyone can go their merry way. He releases a statement about how great it was to work at the FBI. I think that this story is only made more interesting by the news we heard. And to the point we started with, which is like, how many people have been fired? Over 600 people have been fired, forced into early retirement, reassigned. This is not a story that the media have been telling. This is not a story that you're able to read all over the place. But it is a story that matters.
Well, here's the thing. You said it's not a story the media has been telling. The media has pretty much kind of ignored everything that's coming out of the FBI.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to necessarily report on it. Either that or B, they don't even necessarily understand it. The problem is, and this goes, maybe you can speak to this too, Hayley, it's the people on social media. You have a lot of high-end influencers and a cross-segment of a certain population of people who just are completely against Kash and Dan at the FBI and are going to say anything that they can. These were the ones screaming the loudest for Jensen's head.
Yes.
Now that he's gone, they're going to ignore it and they're going to say it's not enough. More people should have been fired. They want it. They want everything done now. And, you know, it doesn't matter. They don't want any investigations into anything. They don't want things done the right way. Right. They would rather things go back to the Biden administration where we just willy-nilly put people in jail because we could and nobody was going to say anything.
Yeah. And I'm not against people being aggressive with what they want. I think that's fine, including for people like our friend Dan. Like, he's a big boy. He's in the government. And if you're like, I want more information about Epstein, or if I want to see prosecutions of Russiagate, or I don't think Steve Jensen should work in the government. The cool thing about this country is you can vocalize that opinion, and those guys will hear it, and maybe it will place even more pressure on them to accelerate into the good thing. That's perfectly fine. But it's the bad faith attacks where you're like, what are you doing?
And there's too many.
What are you doing? Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. It turns out people have bad faith attacks on social media.
Turns out. Just a few.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, people are always going to be upset. I always say these social media haters, mostly on the left, but it's like, do you remember that childhood book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie?
Yes.
If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want a napkin. He's going to want a glass of milk. He's going to want whatever. It just like goes on and on and on, right? Yes. These people, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They want to see what they want to see. And to your point about you have to do this the right way. We can't just... The way that the Biden DOJ was making concerned parents at school board meetings out to be domestic terrorists and all these things, we can't act like that. We have to, now that we're in charge, we have to do it the right way. And on Epstein, like you said, recently, I want transparency, right? This is what I've been calling for the entire time. Transparency. But then there was a question about whether or not the DOJ was going to release the transcript of Todd Blanche's interview with Glenn Maxwell.
Right.
And I said, that could actually be dangerous if you're throwing out, if she named names and they don't have the evidence to charge those names or those people with a crime yet, that could be dangerous to release people's names if they don't have evidence of them being a pedophile or implicated, because that's just her saying it. So I'm like, I want transparency, but let's wait and do it the right way.
Yeah. I will say, the last point on this, and then I want to thank some of our great sponsors here. Dan and Kash and Trump and everybody else, they've inherited the piss poor reputation of our government.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't trust anything.
Anyone.
And so the reality is, even the guys we like when they're in that position face excess scrutiny.
Exactly.
Because they're inheriting the awful reputation of a government that keeps lying to us about everything. So, and they're the right guys to be in these
Right.
jobs. I mean, if you're gonna place anybody at the top and say, well, I trust them, I'm glad Kash and Dan are doing it. I'm glad Trump is there. I'm glad Tulsi's DNI. There's a long list of people that I'm very pleased are in this government. And they're battle hardened, and I think they're doing a good job. All right, more ahead. More and more Americans are all prioritizing their wellness. I'm one of those. I've been trying to prioritize my wellness. I don't always do a great job. You know, I had too many mashed potatoes last night. But my jacked up fitness machine is life-changing. No more need to go to some gym far away or a couple of blocks away or even across the street. None of that. Right in my house, in my basement, I've got my jacked up fitness machine. I love it. I've been working with Don and the team over at Jacked Up Fitness for a couple of months now, and it's been a huge game changer for me and my family. I like it's got these adjustable pulley systems on two sides, both up and down, so I can do flies. I can do like all the the tricep pull downs. I can do everything. I can do everything on this machine. My daughter likes it too. She's a swimmer. She's 11 years old, and she does swim exercises on it. She does, she has the lat pull downs. I got a seat for the lat pull downs. She's doing all sorts of like stroke exercises, getting those arms, those wings going. It's great. It's great for the whole family. Get in shape. You can do it. Their all-in-one home gyms are already best in class. They've got the new X series. It's cool. The Power Rack Extreme Functional Trainer. It lets you do hundreds of exercises. The cool thing about the Power Rack Pro X is it has articulating pulley arms. So now you get unlimited width combos. You're going to hit every muscle group. And if you're new to this, don't worry at all. They got a free Get Jacked Up video program. You just press play. You follow along. No more excuses. Do this together. Go to getjackedup.com. Use the promo code Vince to save 10%. That's getjackedup.com. Thank you to Jacked Up Fitness. Wonderful sponsor. Also wonderful, Bowl and Branch. So after you've tired yourself out on your Get Jacked Up fitness machine, Bowl and Branch sheets are a luxurious way to go to sleep. You're going to sleep really well. There's something really great about a Bowl and Branch sheet. When you open the box for the sheets, you feel them, and then you think, whoa, those feel nice. And then you think, is it bedtime yet? I'd like for it to be bedtime now. It's not. It might not be, but when it is, you're going to adore sleeping on your Bowl and Branch sheets. They use the highest quality organic cotton, makes them soft and durable, plus they get even softer with every single wash. That's great. It's more than a number of threads, actually. It's about comfort and long-lasting quality. So if you're looking for sheets that combine luxury and durability, Bowl and Branch is the way to go. Your sleep is going to thank you. You can feel the difference of that extraordinary night's sleep. Go to bowlandbranch.com/Vince, and you're going to get 15% off, plus free shipping. What are you waiting for? Bowl and Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/Vince. Save 15%. Get free shipping. Exclusions apply. Visit bowlandbranch.com for details. Thank you to Bowl and Branch. Big balls! And thank you to Justin. Apparently that works.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
That was a chat
Celebration of
request.
Big balls. Did you hear that this week? Did you hear our...
Yeah.
That was important.
Yeah.
That was an important piece of history. We had... people were going wild over that. Some people didn't like it, it turns out. So just so people know, in case you missed the episode, we were celebrating Big Balls this week. Big Balls! Yeah. He's
Not generically.
Not generically.
An actual
No.
person.
No,
Yes.
a specific
A hero.
set.
Yes.
This guy was out on the streets of D.C., 3 a.m., Sunday morning, and he was with his lady, and they were going back to their car. They must have had a very long evening at some bar or something in D.C. They were in Logan Circle, an area of the city you're not supposed to be attacked in, northwest D.C., and then they were set upon by a mob of teenagers who were trying to steal their car. So Big Balls pushes his lady friend into the car and saves the day, saves her, prevents the car from being stolen, gets a pretty substantial beatdown from the mob. It's over a dozen people. Did you see, there were people like, oh, but he got beat up. Are you serious?
Right.
It was a dozen people.
He did his best.
He sacrificed.
He did a great job.
Okay.
And he looks like he weighs like $125. He doesn't look like a big guy.
Haley, how attractive is it that a man would sacrifice his body to protect his woman?
This is good masculinity. This is positive masculinity, not toxic masculinity. We need more of it.
I'm telling you, I know, Big Balls is kind of a salty nickname, but I saw a lot of women this week who
He has big balls for doing that.
very appreciative of this young man. 19 years old.
And super genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too, as well. You just said something, though, that triggered me. You triggered me, Hayley.
What?
There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. That needs to be stripped from our lexicon.
Make the case. Make the case. You have to.
Toxic masculinity is nothing but good.
I agree.
Make the case. Humanity is still here. Humans are still reproducing. The reason because of that is because of masculinity.
Yes.
Because we are, as men, willing to go out and do what we have to do to provide for a family.
Yes, you're right. You're wrongly ascribing toxicity to something that's just a fact. Masculinity is just a fact. Femininity is just a fact.
And they're both needed.
Yes.
So needed. Yeah. So
They
to demonize
complement
one,
each
you
other.
need the other. Exactly.
That's right.
Doesn't make sense to
the
take
other-
down one.
Yes, and the left is trying to get rid of that too.
Yeah, they
Everyone
just
has
want
to
a
be
feminine society all over the men and women.
We're kind of androgynous, even.
Yeah.
It's just like it doesn't
I have to
matter.
tell you, look at your microphone right there.
Yes.
You have a male end and a female end.
That's true.
If you had two female ends, we
Wouldn't
be
work.
hearing
We wouldn't
you,
be on the
Vince.
air right now.
No, we could not scissor our way into a broadcast. It wouldn't. It wouldn't actually work. No, and actually, in being in the radio industry, you know this. It's like everything's described very literally. That's the male piece. That's the female
Yes.
piece. Clink, and it works.
And
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
How about that?
But they're trying to change all of that. Like, remember the debate a couple years ago about whether manhole covers was an acceptable way to describe them?
Well, they want to just get rid of the word man in everything, in
Right.
all government documents and language, and that's where birthing person was born, birthing person and chest feeding and all these words that don't exist.
But it's all over the place. So like there's I remember like we've done stories before about like mid-air stuff like notice to airmen, and they got rid of notice to airmen. They no longer say that anymore.
No, that's back with Sean Duffy.
Oh.
My neighbor the pilot, I've told you guys about. My neighbor the pilot, this is one of his little pet peeves.
Yes.
And he was like, I can't believe they changed it. It was notice to they took out cockpit. It was flight deck. And now it's back to cockpit again. And notice to airmen became, I can't even remember what it became.
Notice
but
to
now it's back.
aviators or something.
Yeah, it's back now.
Yeah.
So Sean Duffy.
No, it's
that
everything.
back.
So like we used to use the phrase stewardess, but nobody does that now. It's now flight attendant. They've
Right.
made it gender neutral or whatever.
Although there's a lot of gender neutral flight attendants if you're flying regularly.
But if you notice, it's also in Hollywood. Like everyone is now an actor. Like you're not allowed to say actress anymore.
Right.
Right.
What I don't. The whole thing is maddening. One of my biggest pet peeves is in media when people refer to spokespeople or spokesperson.
Right.
Specifically, the biggest is spokesperson, and then I'll read the name,
And it's
I'll,
a woman.
and I'll always say on
Yeah.
there, like actually, it's a spokeswoman or that's a
Right.
spokesman.
Right.
Like it's not a spokesperson. Why are we doing that?
Well,
Is there? Are we to be ashamed of our gender? Is that the point? What is the point of this, Hayley?
Honestly, I'm thinking about it, but I think it's just leaving the door open for trans people, right? That's what this whole thing is about. Because if men can be women and vice versa, which is obviously false, but if you create the language that makes it comfortable for the trans community, then all the liberals are happy. But
That probably plays a meaningful role.
that's why it's spokesperson, so that you're not saying one or the other, even though everyone is one or the other. Even if you're transitioning to one or the other, you're one or the other. It's
I know.
binary.
And also, I think that this is like kind of a legacy of like people like generically thinking that it was like some sort of diminished position to be a woman. So let's like make everything the same. Right. So there's a lot of authors, for instance, female authors who don't use their first names, who use initials instead to conceal their gender when they're starting out their career because they think they're not taken quite as seriously because they're a woman. that it might
J.K.
hold them
Rowling,
back.
are you thinking?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling is probably a good example. I don't know the origin story behind that, but that is typically the reason that female authors use their initials. Although then there's like C.S. Lewis
Right.
and G.K. Chesterton and like all these men who, did the same thing. So maybe it's just an author pattern. But that is, that is a thing. And we should get over it.
I think it's just woke politicians, though, that are pushing this forward. Because if you asked women in the military or a female pilot, are you offended by the word cockpit? Women who are in this industry and leaders in this industry are probably going to tell you, no, I don't care. They grew up and their entire careers, it's been this one thing. They're probably thinking, what are we doing? It reminds me of when Pete Hegseth was asked, a reporter asked him about the women who were in the bombers, the B-2 bombers that dropped the bomb. And they said, oh, but you said our men out there, our boys out there. And he was like, are you kidding me? And seriously, I want to know, ask the woman if she's offended that he said our boys out there.
No, she's dropping
I would say
bombs.
no.
She's dropping bombs.
She's probably
on
one of the
nuclear
badass.
facilities.
Yeah.
Right.
She's the most badass woman. She doesn't care. Yeah.
No.
She's not easily offended.
No,
she's
she got
pretty
over
badass.
that a long time ago. Yeah. that was never an issue for her. It is truly, truly crazy. I want to end today with some breaking news from the New York Times, actually. The New York Times says that the President of the United States has apparently directed the military now to target the drug cartels. Now, we talk a lot about what it means to use American military force and what kind of missions they should be on. And Hayley, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of our America First interests, the stuff that's killing 100,000 Americans a year kind of seems like priority number one in terms of national security.
Right, absolutely. The border crisis, the left has turned it into a race issue, but it is not a race issue at all. It's so much more than that. They're kind of dumbing it down to maybe make themselves understand, but it's human trafficking and it's drug trafficking that are killing people and putting kids in danger and women in danger and American families in danger. So when people on the left say, oh, President Trump just wants to deport, black and brown people, this is a white supremacist thing. No, this is keeping people here of any color, any race, any whatever, safe from these destructive industries.
Yeah, big time. What do you think about this? Military strikes on cartels, Jim?
When you think about what happened, especially in this last election and during the Biden administration, when they were trafficking people over the border, they were bringing drugs willy-nilly into the country, just, at will, basically getting them into the country. And when you think about the counties on the Texas border that had been blue for 100 years, that finally said, we're going for Donald Trump because their lives were being ruined down there on the border. These are poor people, basically, mostly Hispanic, by the way, that were having their lives ruined by these cartels and the illegals coming through. And these people are just trying to make a living in the United States. And this is why those counties went red, because they can't handle this anymore. They have danger lurking right across that river. And right across that river is real easy to get across, or it was until Donald Trump took office. It's not a deep river in many areas, and it's easy to walk across, and it's not a wide river for the most part. They can see the danger, literally see the danger right across the river from them. Yes. They see the guns, they see the cartels. They found bodies, not only of illegal immigrants trying to get into this country, but bodies that have had limbs and heads cut off by these are actual terrorists. And if you want to go to war against something, the war on drugs, the way we have fought it for decades, has not worked at all. But this is a real war on drugs that can be waged, and I think it's a legit cause.
But we are in a war that we haven't, you talk about a war on drugs, but we haven't really been fighting back against this war. 100,000 Americans dead.
You throw money at it is what they do.
Yes.
That's it.
And so President Trump is finally going to do it. There's been a lot of people who've talked about, this has to be done. And the president clearly has this in mind. And if every time you visit some sort of sad, once great, hollowed out town that is completely defunct and really whose only defining feature is drug use and sadness, it makes you think, I want to go to war to save this town. I want to go to war to save these communities. And so, obviously there's a right way to do this. You don't want to be caught in some ever never-ending quagmire and create more problems. But you do want to strike in such a way that you can stop this from happening again. I think that's a big deal.
Amen.
All right, let's end on a lighter note. All right, I've got one more I said one more thing, but let me change one more thing. This, I should not laugh at the video that we're about to play for you, but I was laughing out loud at it. This is the headline that I read this morning from the Daily Caller. Fire chief reportedly suspended after telling 10-year-old to shut the fuck up. Even before I clicked the video, I was laughing. I was like, you're not supposed to laugh at that. You're not supposed to. Take a look. This comes to us from Long Island.
Shut the fuck up. You would never fuck. Shut your mouth.
Gone are the days of gentle parenting. No one's gentle parenting anymore. Your kid's being annoying. It's shut the F up.
Let me tell you, I'm going to read the quotes to you from this piece just because it might not have been crystal clear. Shut the fuck up, the man appears to yell. It's like this with you every fucking week. I don't want to, the child says, as they're putting the child into the ambulance. Quote, I want to go home. I have a million questions about this. It's like this every week.
Right.
How often are they shoving this kid into an ambulance?
What's going on? The kid is obviously a problem.
She's the Kenny of their community.
Yeah.
Does she die in every episode? Is that the way this works? And the guy's like, you're always like this. He's screaming at her like they're a couple headed for divorce.
Yes.
Like they're obviously very familiar with each other.
If the local law enforcement knows your name and they see you frequently on a weekly basis, you're doing something wrong. The kid is the problem.
10 years old. I don't want to. You do this all the time. Shoving her into the car. Well, I hope she gets better, and I hope they can patch up whatever problems they have. It's the first time I think we'll see a 10-year-old and a fire chief go to therapy. But maybe they will, and hopefully that guy can get his job back. He's currently suspended.
Yes, I think.
Oh, bring him back.
Yeah, bring him back.
Reinstate him. Bring him back. Free him. Free my boy.
Honestly,
what's his name? We got to do.
I know.
We need an online campaign.
We'll have to look it up. But in the meantime, what a joy it's been to hang out with you guys. This is so cool.
Fun.
It's been nice to be here in Florida.
Thanks for having us.
Oh my gosh, with the crew. It's not every day. I mean, first of all, I'm never here in Florida. Almost never. Producer Jim is almost never here in Florida. And Hayley, you've just been killing it.
I'm on this island by myself, so it's good to have my colleagues here.
You've been absolutely crushing it. Thank you for letting us use the studio. Good to
of
see
course.
you today. All right. That's it for this edition of Vince. Here's what I want to tell you, a little bit of housekeeping. On Monday, we're going to have a special edition. I'm interviewing Sean Farish. I am going to be traveling back to my D.C. studio from the nation's capital, from sea to shining sea. I'm going to be heading back there, traveling over the course of 2 days, Sunday and Monday, but you are not without content Monday. A great conversation with the ultimate Trump impersonator, a smart and a great guy, Sean Farish, will be with you on Monday, and then we're back live Tuesday. From D.C., God bless you. We had a great time here. Major had a great time here. He's running around. He's harassing everybody right now. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Vince. Up next, live here on Rumble, is Steven Crowder. That's where you'll be shoved along. I hope you enjoy it.